Hello and welcome, I'm Arumba. Thank you for joining me. So we have a new patch out for Crusader Kings 2. It is version 1.102, and I wanted to review the patch notes as I've been doing for the past few. It's a shorter change, so I'm not going to kind of shorten it down at all. We'll just go through all of them together. So a few changes. The interface removed the erroneous warning text about disinheriting a dynasty member when granting him a temple holding for non-Christians, because it doesn't actually do anything. Pagans can't do that, only Christians can. West Africans can now use the Mongol on-map shields, so they just have a different interface graphic. Diplomacy view. Crusades, jihads, Great Holy Wars are now listed before they can be used, with a tooltip why you can't use them. That's a great change. Now you can actually tell, like, what's going on. I've always, like, when I started playing, I think my first playthrough, I was like, when can I do a Great Holy War? Why can't I? When is it allowed? Added some more coat of arms elements. More work to come, so they're just adding some more random coat of arms that can be added to the game. Fixed an issue where the wrong temple icon can be shown. Fixed an issue with the displaying of strong claims for pagans and Zoroastrians, rather. This is a big change. A lot of people who play Republics will be happy about it. Gameplay changes. We've got fixed a bug where the arsenal building could be deleted upon succession. So now you can build the arsenal in your capital and not worry about losing it. The decision for creating Hungary now takes away the Ukrainian part of their realm. So, well, kind of a nerf to Hungary, I suppose. Zoroastrians can now properly use their crusade. The 1066 William, Harold, and Harold's starting forces have been rebalanced, most likely due to the fact that pagans and technology have changed. Fixed a bug where crown laws could or would not carry over into created kingdoms and empires. This was, I thought, I actually did a lot of research on it because I thought I was going crazy. I could have sworn at one point when you went from duke to king you had to start fresh, but then it got changed, and if you had a certain laws as a duke, then they persist as a king. And then in this patch, you would sometimes have to start fresh again with Gavelkind. So you'd finally be in power long enough as a duke to change over to primogeniture, and then you'd go create a kingdom, and then you'd lose it. And that's not how it's supposed to work, so they fixed that. Fixed some bugs with the true cognatic succession. You no longer get messages about adventurers who are not actually declaring war. So you don't get to know about them doing it, apparently. You must now be in the West African culture group to recruit the Ghanan band. Slashed some unnecessary memory usage for living characters. Fixed a bug where you sometimes raised 2 rune stones in honor of your father. The event where a female courtier initiates romance with their liege now properly checks their opinion. Expanded the Justanid dynasty of Gillen. Fixes and additions to several Norwegian dynasties. The Imperial Reconquest Casus Belli now also applies to the Kingdom of Asturias. Fixed a bug where the order of holdings and provinces did not remain consistent when stepping back and forth in history. That's most likely in the before you actually start playing the game. You're just, cycling through time. Varangians will now only come back Orthodox if it's the Byzantine ruler's religion. Diseases now actually trigger before 1066. I thought this was curious because I noticed there was no diseases anywhere. A couple times I was trying to kill my characters and looking around the map and I couldn't find any outbreaks, and apparently they weren't possible before 1066. Fixed a rare crash issue with the invalid coat of arms for Muslim-held titles, some slight memory and speed optimization. Salanda is now a temple. Marshals can no longer interfere with their own efforts to train troops in a province. So if you have a marshal and you send your marshal to train troops in his own... Or how does that work then? Marshals can no longer interfere with their own efforts to train troops in a province. Huh. I guess if it's if your marshal's a baron in the province, and you send him to there, and he is the noble that would interfere because he owns a baronry. Well, either way, the marshal can't interfere with his own work. That's kind of weird. Court chaplains no longer claim characters as heretics if they are already branded as such. That makes sense. That's always been comical, like the, someone's a Lollard and you have your court chaplain trying to convert him, and instead he ends up branding him a heretic. He's a heretic! No. He was already. The opinion modifiers given by those events will no longer disappear. Added this dynasty, expanded that dynasty, fixed this to that dynasty. 867 corrected the character Hrolf, the first Duke of Normandy. Corrected an issue with Gurgen and Dalam not being part of the Seljuk Empire. Loosened up the cultural requirements for the formation of the kingdoms of Rus and Finland. So that means that more cultures nearby that start there will be able to create those kingdoms. In general, I think that's good. Follow-up events should now trigger properly when your wife is impregnated by a lover. Added the 3 winning submissions from the event contest. So something that Paradox was doing was with the Old Gods, they put this out there and said, hey, create events, and people will vote on them, and they'll pick the ones that they like the best. And so 3 new events have been added to the game that are pagan-specific. Piety from buildings is now given both to the owner and his liege. Moved the Duchy of Haya from Abyssinia to Nubia. Fixed a bug where the liege would always inherit a courtier's gold. Improved the gold inheritance check to look for siblings and grandchildren if necessary. So if it's possible, it will find family to give money to first. I read on Reddit there was somebody who inherited like 130,000 gold because all the money got piled up and then they murdered him. No longer possible to invite a concubine to your court. Makes sense. You can't just invite someone's concubine out of their realm and into yours. They are technically not a wife, but they are technically, not allowed to leave. The Blot and Nerge decisions are now high priority, giving players a heads up when they're available. So you'll get an alert will pop down when you're allowed to do that. Important decisions are available. Same thing with like when you hold a great tournament or something. Landless popes can now call crusades. Titles with free duchy revocation, like the Byzantine Empire, can now revoke the de jure capital county freely. And then these are the changes that I did like the most. AI. I always love AI changes. The AI will no longer declare war on its current player heir, or vice versa. So, for instance, if there's a Gavelkind succession type thing, and a character ends up landing his son, he's not going to then attack him if he becomes independent or something. They're family, they're not going to attack each other. They'll also not flip culture to Swedish, Danish, or Norwegian culture if they're a huge Norse empire. They'll also execute claimants whose claim is currently pressed in a war against it. So if they can, they'll just kill the guy. If he's in their prison, then why would they continue to war him? Doges and patricians are now more likely to build in their cities. Pagans are now willing to accept cross-religion marriages with other pagans if it likes you enough. That's a good change. We'll now accept marriage offers for courtiers of the right religion, even if the ruler is of a hostile religion. Female rulers or heirs are less likely to marry non-matrilineally unless they really like you. More likely to revoke its de jure capital title. So if they're supposed to have a specific title, they'll try to revoke it. And then there's been some various modding changes here, which just help out with making mods. So that is patch 1.02, and the great news is that it's fully compatible with all saves that were made on version 1.10 or version 1.101. So I am looking forward to giving this a shot. So we'll see you again in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you soon.